I'm Corky Coker, and I have been around collector cars my whole life. I've been raised in the old car hobby. I love the European cars, the Model Ts, the hot rods, the race cars, the vintage bikes, the antique trucks. I just dig it. But you know what's better than that? Is the people in the old car hobby. They are the best.
Sometimes the road less traveled takes you where you need to go. You turn back, things unravel.
Well, at Honest Charlie Speed Shop, we love to build hot rods.
You never know what we've been looking for. Across the road, it always winds. Keep your eyes on what's in front of you. You just don't know what you might find.
Every car here in the Coker Museum has a story, and every story has a good ending. The most important thing that I like to do is have other people enjoy them, and I like to drive them. I like to see them out on the roads. I like to see them on the racetracks, and that's what we're doing at Honest Charlie Garage. We're building cars that people can enjoy, that people can drive, and people can experience.
Have you found what you've been looking for? Across the road, it always winds. Keep your eyes on what's in front of you. You just don't know what you might find.
Do you remember the old television series in the 60s called The Avengers? Mr. Steed was a gentleman, and he drove a 4.5 liter Bentley. Well, this is a Peterson 4.5 liter Bentley. A guy named Bob Peterson took Bentleys and Rolls-Royce chassis and built a Van den Plas body. This is an exact replica down to the measurements of the rivets, etc., of a blower Bentley made by the W.O. Bentley brothers in England. And Bob Peterson, throughout the last number of years, cast up pieces for a Birkin blower, did Rudge Whitworth wire wheels, knockoffs. Of course, this wonderful machine has our 700 R19 radial Excelsior tires on it, Hartford shocks. They're just amazing cars, and they race these throughout Grand Prix, throughout England, throughout Europe, here in America too, and I've even raced this at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival with my daughter Casey. So much so that when she was driving with me, she said, "Dad, you have to show me how to drive this car." It is an amazing car. I consider it a man's sports car, but I'm going to make an exception for Casey Coker Jarvis. So this car is amazing. Let me show you a little bit about this car as we walk around it. It has hood straps because it is a full bore on wide out carburetor choke out race car. Goes fast, it corners very well. You can see right here it has breathers for the brakes so that you're able to get your brake cooling, etc. The Hartford shocks, those are not actually shocks, those are spring resistors. When you take a bump and the leaf springs start a cadence, the friction-based Hartford shocks slows that down and makes it limited. This is with windshield full race down. These little wind breakers right here can come off right here and then fit on the bottom end of the, so that you've got a greater aerodynamic on this blower Bentley. It's an amazing car. I love driving this car, and Casey will too. But first, before we get it out, I want you to hear it right now so that you can hear this Birkin supercharger come alive. This is an amazing machine. So let me crank it up. First thing you got to make sure is that you're in neutral if you're standing outside the car, because it'll start in first gear and take off and run. Let me turn those headlamps off so I don't drag down on it. So give it a little more throttle. Did you hear that supercharger when she fired? I'm adjusting the spark right here. This is the, let me turn the lights on. This is the turn signal indicators right up on the steering sector right here. So, interesting thing about W.O. Bentley Brothers, they would put a oil gauge reader, so all of the oiling system on the engine that ran throughout the whole body would, throughout the whole engine, as it's oiling the rest of the engine, it would come up to this sight glass so that you could see that the engine is oiling all the time. So when you're piloting this down the road, you can watch your RPMs, you can watch your MPHs. You know what that means, MPHs. Check the oil pressure, you know, the vacuum pressure for the supercharger, your temperature, your oil temperature also. It's an amazing machine, and the W.O. Bentley brothers certainly built some fine cars. These cars bring, you know, the Peterson Bentleys bring 400 to 800 grand, and the well, 400 to 650 in that range. It's not about money. I love the cars for what they are and the way they drive. A true 4.5 liter blower W.O. Bentley car will bring $1.6 million, $1.8 million, $8 million, $9 million. Let's go and see if she wants to go for a ride so we can teach her how to drive it. You can help support our show by joining the Hagerty Drivers Club. It includes a subscription to our award-winning magazine, unlimited access to our valuation tool, 24/7 roadside assistance with flatbed towing, free classified listings, exclusive coupons and offers, and VIP perks to select Hagerty events. Get more information at hagerty.com/HDC. And by our friends at Moss Motors. Run by enthusiasts for enthusiasts.
This is the original windshield for the Jaguar, but the previous gasket was cracked, it'll dry rot, and we got a new piece from Moss Motors. It looked like a huge rubber band. It actually looked too big for the windshield. Jason and Josh have this rope trick that they did, and you essentially have to put the rope underneath, and as you're pulling the rope around, it stretches this big gasket, this big rubber band, to fit it. It's giving the border to this glass. It looks like it's easy and you just stretch it, but it is thick. This is not something that is very easy to do. Our guys made it look simple, which is great because they're professionals. This gasket, apart from the car, is really floppy and flimsy. Jason and Josh tried to put it on the glass off of the car, and it just didn't fit, and it was floppy. They realized there needed to be a locking strip that goes in the middle of it. Essentially, it looks like another rubber band that goes in there, but it's more firm. So getting it in the gasket and on the windshield was a process. They had to use tools similar to like a knife to shove it down in there and put the rope on it. It was an ordeal.
Then we have to put this seal on. This is a locking seal that goes in between this seal and this channel right here. This kind of holds it all together and gives it structure. This has to go on before we could even put the windshield in. So that's what we're gonna do. And you always want a helper here to help hold the glass and get everything tight. Look at that, look at that. See it? Butter it up, slide it on.
Pour out the leftover in your popcorn.
Well, once you put the rope around the sill, you're able to pull the rubber over the lip on the car. If you don't do it that way, it's not going to go on. So it has to be done this way. The rope helps you to pull it over the lip. So put a little silicone spray in here. So you're not fighting against the rubber. Just slide that in.
Regardless of the shape of it, it's still. Okay, so what does that mean? So installing this new windshield seal, again, a little bit different and odd from things I'm more used to working on, is there's a locking bead inside of here. A little bit harder to see now that it's installed, but it's another piece of rubber that's a little bit stiffer, and that's what actually holds this seal onto the window. When we first put the seal on, not realizing that we needed a locking bead, we're like, this thing is super floppy, there's no way it's gonna work. And a little bit of research, and found a locking bead, found it in our parts box that Moss supplied, and everything fits together like it should. And then installing the window, we of course used a rope method to install it. After a locking bead was installed, pushing that rope all the way around, and then once lay this window in, just pull that rope out, and it was no problem. It fits like it should, there's no gaps, you can't see any light through it, no issues. A little bit of a tip for installing the window with the rope method is just to overlap the rope, so it kind of gives you something, a thicker point to kind of start on. So you can start the rope and get to the other side, and you have a little bit of overlap so that there's no seal that's not installed by the time you get to the end. Otherwise you have to play with some panel tools and figure that out. There's no sense if you can just overlap the rope to begin with.
I'm going to take you down the street first, and then I'm going to teach you how to drive this thing.
Oh, good.
You said that you wanted to learn how to drive it.
Oh, heck yeah, I did. Do I know how to close the door?
You do know how to be a smart aleck.
Yeah, I learned from the best.
Yeah. All right. We don't have a whole lot of time.
I'm answering phone calls when I'm in the middle of filming.
No.
Hold on, let me stop. Yeah. Y'all hold on.
So
let me finish this.
We're still filming some stuff.
We're filming, and I'm
about to
being recorded. Oh, that's a dial tone.
Casey how to
Excuse
drive
me.
this little Bentley. And then we'll pull up and
I love
back.
my
So,
dad. I love
you
my
come on
dad.
down
He
here.
busy. He a busy
down
person.
to Chestnut Street.
I forget that side doesn't have a door. Yep. Well, it can be made for a short person. I said it is made for a short person. I've had some trouble in the past with some of the cars because I have to sit up here, but then if I try to push the clutch in, my back goes back, and then I can't fully push the clutch in because I got short legs.
Okay. A couple things that you need to know. There's an on-off power switch, a kill switch, and it's on your side. I'm going to show you where it is. You can reach back here underneath and touch it for it to be on. On is right there. That's off, and that is on.
Okay.
So, in order to go on, the ignition switch down. This is really lights and also ignition also. That's the fuel pump. So put it in neutral. That's neutral. Okay, switch is on. That one down, that one down. Okay, now hit your starter button.
That sounds nice.
So, okay, when you take off now, before you take off, you just do your handbrake,
Yeah.
go forward. You've got to be feathering the throttle and paying attention to your throttle all the time.
Yeah.
And if you don't hear the car, you can pat your throttle and hear it. But if you're having trouble going in gear.
Well, I guess what I was thinking is it's hitting the seat, and I felt like the design
Well, then
wasn't.
kick it back. Push your seat back.
Well, then I can't push the clutch in all the way. So that's where I was.
Okay.
So. Well, see, whenever I do, he's like, "Don't rip the clutch up." He said that in the past because Austin Healey, you got to be in like complete stop to throw it in first.
Yeah. Well, this has not got synchronized in first gear either.
Yeah. So when I hear it doing that, I'm like,
oh, well, you were doing it going in second, I think, or trying to go into first. So, all right, put it in neutral, start it. Don't be pushing the button.
yeah, that's just
Except for
reverse. Yeah.
It's what it does. It
Keeps
lifts
it
the
at
lever,
stop.
lifts the lever so that it's a gate, and you can go into where reverse is.
Okay. Hitting the seat again.
4. You're a pretty good driver, Case.
Oh, well, you have taught me well. slipping out of gears because the seat kept pushing it forward. I'm short. I love this car. It's so pretty, and it just drives smooth. So I've driven a car in Ireland before, and shifting was in the center, but the clutch system, it was still clutch, brake, gas. And so that was unusual for me for it to be on the right side instead of the center, which is more natural for me because that's what American cars are built like. So that's awesome. And he's a good teacher.
She was awesome. Because if I said anything else other than that, well, she could have not raised too much RPMs when she started, or she grounded into first gear a time or two. No, she did awesome. She actually can drive a clutch very well. When the babies were little, she had a Buick 4-door sedan, 3 on the tree, and I remember watching her pull off onto a road up a hill, and she just did that just like clockwork. And she did this also, very well. We were on the racetrack at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival, and we did a couple laps around the racetrack, and she rode with me as I drove it. And I can drive this car full race, and we were really ripping it. And she said, "Oh, Dad, you got to teach me how to drive this car." So we did that this morning. It's great fun.